All right, guys, welcome back to our week 6. Little bit of a disclaimer here. This is a screenshot from my career mode. We don't have our thumbnails out for this week yet, so you guys get a screenshot from my career mode for Spa. As race number 6 here in Spa, and we're looking forward to it. I know a lot of the drivers had some time off last week. And Tier 4 had to drive again because of an internet connection issue. And we are still having to deal with the equal performance issue when it comes to the team cars. So everybody will be driving with their F1 World cars, and then from my understanding, a portion of them will be sporting some team colors from their actual real-life team counterpart that they're supposed to be driving in. But yeah, so what we had to run into last week with the equal performance issue was that the F1 cars, the teams, got a downforce update, and that downforce update pretty much overrided the equal performance of those cars. So those faster cars like Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren have more downforce compared to those other cars such as AlphaTauri or Alfa Romeo or Williams. So that would have been an unfair advantage for some of our drivers in Tier 4, and especially some of our other equal performance tiers. But as always, my name is Xerox. I'm your commentator today for Tier 4. Every Monday. And if you guys are looking to join the league, make sure to join the Invictus Racing League Discord and follow the application process in the appropriate channel. You can also find our league on gridfinder.com, and if this league is not quite what you're looking for, be sure to go through GridFinder and find a league that fits your preference. You can go through there and go through a different filter and see what kind of league you're able to fit best to your needs, pretty much. If online racing isn't your thing and you guys are on PC, you can always go check out Venturi Studios, your one-stop shop for anything from custom driver helmets, team packages, and more. The Invictus Racing League and its partners thank you for joining us today and throughout the season, as we're already over a third of the way there, so yeah. We're waiting for the invites as I start the stream every time they say they are opening the lobby up. And we're going to go ahead and pull up our driver standings and constructor standings. And from my understanding, what I remember, it's a lot smaller than me able to view it compared to you guys. But for the driver standings, Ronan is still holding on to that lead with JPH and Jack and Lucas pretty much fighting for that second place spot, with JPH and Jack tied at 43 or 45, sorry, and then Lucas at 43. So that's a three-way fight for second place in the driver standings. And McLaren increasing their lead in the constructor standings with 79 points compared to Williams 59, and then Haas close behind with 54. And Alfa Romeo still trying to catch up to that top 3 finish, as they're tied with Alpine at 43 points for the constructor standings. So we're really looking forward to that. And we're just trying to wait and see if the invites are out. I haven't gotten a notification on my end. We're gonna go ahead and check, and nothing yet. As looks like JPH and Running are on. We're just waiting for those invites. They didn't say that they sent them out yet. Still waiting to see. And as we wait for that invite, I'm gonna go ahead and do my my outreach for the race. See if we can get some more viewers in here. Getting those out there. All right. So we should be getting invites here shortly. And as always, if my audio or the game audio is too loud, let me know. That way I can fix it. I need my invite, sir. Okay. That's a different admin, I believe. That's why. Alright. Thank you, JPH. All right, we're in the lobby, and actually it's a lot easier to connect. We weren't having that easy of a connection last week. Let me go ahead and clear, minimize Discord. I'll pull up the stream again, that way I can see the chat. If you guys have been here, please make yourself comfortable and at home as we're getting the lobby to go. And it looks like we have most of our drivers, and we're still 4 or 5 minutes away from starting the session. Hello, Tommy. Yes. If you remember, we had to drive last week because the actual race day for this race was, for the last race, was postponed on the break week. So all these drivers had an extra drive to do, and got a little bit less of a break than everybody else. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the standings off a bit. And as another reminder, we don't have the thumbnails out for this week quite yet, so I had to take one of my career mode shots for the Belgian Grand Prix. The break was last week. We just had to do the race again. The next break that we get, I believe, is... let me get the calendar out. The next break that we get is November 6th. So we get a whole month of racing. And then the first full week of November, we have another break. Yes, so unlike the screenshot, hopefully we won't have to deal with the rain. And now we should be seeing some pretty good qualifying times. And I believe Alpha Crazy with the stewards from last week, he is to sit out of qualifying today, so he'll be starting from the back of the pack. And it's going to be unfortunate for him because he's really fighting for points right now in the standings. And yeah, I think all of our drivers are already in for Tier 4, so good luck to Tier 3. Here are the standings again. Ronan in the Haas at 52 points. JPH Jack at 45. Lucas Blaha at 43. So there's a three-way fight for second place in the driver standings at this time. And then McLaren increasing their lead for the Constructors' Championship. Williams in P2 at 59 points. Haas close behind in 54. Alfa Romeo and Alpine tied for the fourth place in the constructor standings at 43 points. So we're hoping to see some good improvement from Alpha Crazy with that qualifying ban as we're readying up here pretty much. Got about another minute before we get into the lobby. Hopefully we won't have to deal with the same situation. We are it is a different race host compared to last week. You know, JPH was having issues and then he disconnected. So hopefully we will be doing a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and put a note in. I have to put a reminder out there for post-race interviews for the top 3 finishers. Alpha Crazy has been allotted to do an outlap and then come back into the pits. That way he has an actual valid time or something like that. As we are waiting for the race admin to give everybody the okay to ready up. And if I'm correct, let me look at the schedule. I don't know. Belgian, short qualifying, 22 laps. Okay, I thought something was wrong with that screen, but I'm wrong. It's been a long week, and they're we had a sprint race in Spain, so that'll be next week when we go to France for a sprint race. I was really kind of bummed out that I didn't get a thumbnail. The thumbnails were not ready, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to use one of my own, and then they'll update the thumbnails for the stream covered later. And I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of liveries the drivers are going to be using today with their concepts of their team colors. They were like, okay, you're going to have to use your F1 World car. And I put a comment out there. It's like, it would be cool to have you guys rep your team colors. And then they all started getting into it. And I told them, it's like, I'm not trying to force you guys. It's just an idea. It was last night while I was at work. But we're waiting for the go-ahead. And I believe we have everybody here. We have 17 drivers today. In the lobby, we have Sab, Alpha Crazy, Waters, Gattuso, Sir Spud, Jack, Mikey, JPH, Tancho Banda, Sam Flan, Andres, Ronan, Phantom, Nitro Gas, Clips Kiri, Lucas Blaha, Bruce Lee Harding, myself as commentator, and XL and Jamie, who's Jamie's first race with us today. And I believe Andres, I don't quite remember. And the broadcast for Tier 3 is up. You guys can go ahead and go back and forth between races if you guys are here to watch and not actually one of the drivers. As I don't believe we're total of 18 drivers today. So an almost full lobby today, so we're gonna be packed with action today. Just hope the weather works out in our favor, and kind of looking forward to seeing if we get some high-speed safety cars, so we'll have to wait and see. I know when I played in Belgium for my career mode, it was okay. My entire strategy was okay, and I believe I finished top 10. And we actually had a sprint race. So everybody is readying up. We go ahead and transition over to our F1 game screen. There's a little bit of encoding overloaded, so I apologize about that. And then delay on the screen change. How many safety cars do you think, compared to last week that we had? We may have 2. I don't know, really. But I did watch the Japanese Grand Prix, and that early safety car really did not help a lot of the drivers. And I was shaking my head at the fact that they had Sergio Perez go back out to the track. And they clocked his pit stop at like 14 minutes or something like that. There was a comment about that. But we're really looking forward today to Alpha Crazy sitting out of qualifying and see what kind of grounds he can make up in the main race, as it's really going to affect him when it comes to the standings. Because I know he was up there. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up on my phone. I'm going to go ahead and get our spectator menu set up here. Fastest lap, detail, tire, no. Best. Let me go ahead and best, lap data, track map full. And we're going to go ahead and see if anybody else is out on the track yet. 18 drivers today. It's the most we've had, I believe, in Tier 4. And there's one driver coming out, and that's Alpha Crazy, I believe. Andres is out. Tancho Banda is out first. Tancho Banda is out first. He's repping his team's livery, I believe. Tancho Banda. Names are always different in the Discord than they are here. So Alfa Romeo. David 40. Alfa Romeo is not here. Let's see who is ahead of Tancho Bandit. That is going to be... Trying to scroll through here, looking at the map. Who is ahead of him? Who's going to be first? Gattuso. That's Gattuso in the front, letting one of the cars go by. One in a dark green. 4. Some of these drivers didn't respond to the grid lineup, so they showed up afterwards. We had a general idea, so looking forward to that. So the 2 drivers up front are going to be Tacho Banda, and I believe Sab is still in the pits. Tacho Banda and Alpha Crazy. So, really looking forward to that. As they're coming down to Sector 3 here. Tuso leaving some space between him and the drivers in front. Really taking it easy on those soft tires up until he has to go. And our first driver to start their run is going to be Tancho Banda. Wearing a nice black and red. If I'm correct, I believe he's Ferrari. Repping the Ferrari colors. I will have to look. Season 17 standings, Tier 4. Tancho Bandit is a reserve driver. He was marked as a reserve driver on race 5. I don't know if he was given an official seat. I thought he was. Let me look at Tier 4 information here. A decent Sector 2. I need to put the lap data on. There we go. Tancho Bandit will be the first to cross the line for a placement of a lap time. Coming through the bus stop chicane pretty good. And setting a 1:44.456. And coming back behind him is Gattuso. See how well he can perform against that. 1:44.223. And then we have some other drivers coming through and setting their times. So Andres 1:44.8. Jamie setting a 1:44.0. Lucas Blaha setting a 1:43.7. Sir Spud coming in on a medium at 1:45.6, so he's going to try to save a set of softs, possibly. Trying to see who else is. Got Nitro Gash coming through, seeing what kind of pace he can make. Setting P8 at 1:44.2. The grid, most of the grid is getting a 1:44. And Jack with a 1:42.987. So that's pretty a few tenths of a second ahead of Sam Flam. Bruce Lee Harding getting up there 1:43.5. Repping those McLaren colors. I like that. Really nice. A little bit of a gold from JPH running the other McLaren team. Remember? And I believe Mikey is on his hot lap coming through Sector 1. This downhill section, I always hate the braking for this sector. I always get out wide there, a little bit too far wide than I would like. As he's repping some team colors, some home colors on his car. The red, white, and green. See where Eclipse Curie is ahead or behind. He is behind. So Mikey will be crossing the line first, as there's a yellow flag in Sector 2. A little bit of a slowdown from Sir Spud. Well, that's not Sir Spud. That is Nitro Gash. Trying to slow down and get out of the way. But Mikey, RK13, coming through Sector 3. Running pretty well. I don't know if my camera settings reset. Hitting the bus stop chicane really well. A little bit of oversteer here as he's crossing the line. It's going to be putting him up into P7. That's going to be a comfortable position for him. 144.03. I believe that's 2/100ths of a second against Jamie. And then the last across the line is Eclipse Curie. For now, Phantom sitting out at a 143. Eclipse Curie up to P6 right now. And I don't know if Phantom is sitting out because of a ruling or what. But Tancho Bandit is going through his one and only lap. He'll have to be going back into the pits. And it's, I don't know if they let him do a flyer lap. My son's trying to sneak up on me. I heard him. Alpha Crazy back into the pits. And Sab still yet to make a time. Is on his outlap. Andres on an outlap as well as Gattuso getting back out there already. Tancho Band, Eclipse Curie, Lucas Blaha, I believe they're on cooldown laps. With the amount of time that it's been. But we're going to be looking towards Sab to see his set time. See what he can do. Nice chrome and red. It was see if who's going through Sector 3 right now. Eclipse Curie, I don't know if he's on a hot lap. Running the Alpha, that's a really nice setup. I believe that's Alfa Romeo that you're running there. Eclipse Curie, Alfa Romeo. It looks like it. He's going back into the pits. We have Sab coming through Sector 2. The end of Sector 2 here. He's going to be coming up towards some traffic. I don't know if he was blocking or not. I didn't get to see it. He's going to be hitting that double right-hander. I always end up hitting the gravel there and slamming into the barrier. I did that a lot in F122. Sab coming through the bus stop chicane. See what kind of time he can get. Our race admin of today. Getting up to P9, so a lot of time frame there in the middle of the pack. 142 coming from Jack, who's sitting in the pits. 143 from P2, which is Sam Plan, all the way down to P9, which is Sab, who we're on board with right now. I'm going to go ahead and jump to JPH. I believe he's on his outlap. He's going through this bus stop chicane. He's going to be starting his hot lap here. And I believe that is Nitro Gash on an outlap behind him as well. And then Andres. I believe that is Andres behind. No, that is not. That is Waters on an outlap as well. So we're going to be on board with JPH here as he looks to improve his time. He is sitting in P6 as we have 7 minutes to go in qualifying. A lot of space between drivers today for qualifying. And 140s. The gap between P1 and P17, due to Alpha Crazy having to sit out of this qualifying, is just over 2.5 seconds. 2.6 seconds is the gap between P1 and P17. I believe, if my math is correct. I don't know if anybody ahead of him is on a hot lap. Invalidated time from Sab. He's on a cooldown lap. Good too, so I don't know if he's on a hot lap or not. He may be on a hot lap. Coming through the bus stop chicane there is, I believe his colors are Aston Martin. A lot of wheel spin there. See if he can get some good improvement, and there is no improvement there. He's still sitting on P14. As we're coming back to JPH coming through the bus stop chicane. Good exit out of the chicane there. Let's see if he can get some improvement from that 143.5, and there is no improvement there. As I believe next up is Nitro Gash. And a very big improvement from Nitro Gash there as he gets a 143.2. That is front row right now. Running a Monza style livery to rep for Ferrari. So very good run from Nitro Gash. See if anybody else is on their hot lap there in Sector 3. Ronan, I believe he's on a hot lap. He's matte black there. Bruce Lee Harding setting a new P1 time with a 142.6 now. Ronan coming through the pit stop chicane. See what kind of improvement he can get. And that's going to be P6 for a 143.4. Running very well. I like that. The matte black on the decal that he's running. And yellow flag through Sector 3. So I don't know. Maybe we're coming back into the pits. And we got some hot laps coming through. I'm trying to find who they are. Eclipse Curie, I believe, is on his hot lap. Who is coming in behind him? That's Sam Flan. I can't really tell. Who just crossed the line? These icons, you guys all have your black primary colors. It's so hard to tell. That was Mikey, RK13, coming to the line that I was trying to find. And we're not seeing any other improvements as of right now. 4 minutes to go in qualifying. Sir Spud on those mediums. Now he's on those softs. He's coming through Sector 1 on his flyer. Caution to Sector 3 in that bus stop chicane. I believe that may have been Nitro Gash coming off the track. So Sir Spud on the new set of softs to get an amount of... I don't know the words I'm looking for. Oh, loss of words. Getting to see how much of an improvement he can make off of those medium tires. Setting a provisional 145, so see what the gap can give him. Thank you, Racing Master. I was not aware. It's just I said it would make it easier for me, but it's apparently not. So I even wrote down all the names for everyone on the teams, but that was from when everybody was able to respond. And there's a lot more people here right now than there is on that roster. But we're looking at a provisional time for Sir Spud. Hopefully he can get up to the P6 or better, knock Phantom down from P6 as he is spectating, I believe. I don't know if he backed out intentionally or not, but Alpha Crazy is just sitting there in the pits, confirming that his setup is good to go. Sir Spud setting a new time, 144.7, no placement change. That gap's now going to be 142.6 to 144.7. That's going to be 2 seconds. just over 2 seconds. 2.1 second gap now between the leader and P17. As we're going to come around and look and see who else is on a hot lap. Jamie going through Sector 1. Mikey going through Sector 2. Clips Kiri going through Sector 2 as well. Trying to see where everybody is. Walter is on an outlap, and then I believe behind him is Andres, who is on a hot lap. Or outlap. Gonna be looking for Jack, who's on an outlap as well. Clips Kiri on a hot lap, I believe. I could be wrong. And it looks like a lot of traffic coming through Sector 2, so that may hinder some people's driving times. Hitting the curb a little bit. As we're on board with Mikey RK13, looking to make an improvement. He had an okay first run. As we have Waters and Andres on their hot laps as well. We're going to have to keep an eye out for them. As Mikey starts his... he's coming back into the pits. So Waters... repping an Alpine livery. Pink Alpine. I made a reference towards the pink Mercedes in the driver's room earlier. As he has an invalidated lap time and he slams into the wall. That's going to be the end of qualifying for Waters. I don't know if that was a connection issue. It looks like it was with how he turned off on the replay. That's going to be very unfortunate for him. As Andres is coming through Sector 2, hopefully he didn't have to slow down too much from that yellow flag in Sector 2. As qualifying is done here, and we're looking to see some improvements. Maybe someone knocking Bruce out of the lead for the front row. As the next to cross the line would be Andres. I don't believe the car in front is going to be able to set a time. I don't know who that was that crossed the line, but we have Andres coming through the bus stop chicane. Riding a little bit more curved than you would want. And he's coming into the pits, so he's going to be done. Andres sitting at P11. As next up, we have Jack coming through Sector 3. Carrying a lot of speed up towards the bus stop chicane. And still sitting there in P2, 142.6. That's going to be about 0.04 behind Bruce Lee Harding. As we have some of our other runners coming up. Tancho Bana next to cross the line, coming through the chicane here. See what kind of an improvement he can make. That's going to be up to P3 for him. Next up, we have Clips Kiri. No improvement from them. We got JPH coming up next to the line. And P3 for JPH. JPH and Tancho Banda up in the second row for this race. Nitro Gas sitting out in P5. Ronan pushing his way up into P3 here. As I believe that's going to be the end of our qualifying. Bruce Lee Harding and Jack starting at the front row. Ronan and JPH for row 2. Tancho Banda and Nitro Gas for row number 3. Sam Flam, Clips Kiri, row number 4. Phantom and Lucas Blaha. Phantom backed out early, so he was comfortable with the time that he set. And the average time frame for all of our drivers today, a 142.6 to a 144.7. So that's about 2.1 second gap between all of the drivers. And Alpha Crazy, unfortunately, having to sit out due to penalties. So we're looking forward to seeing what kind of race we can get. Tire strategies with the 22-lap race. We might see a soft tire being used by almost everyone. And it just comes down to tire degradation and control, especially in the uphill sector 1. Bruce Lee Harding with a provisional time of 142.6 on those soft tires. And I believe that was a smart move. I believe that was... I don't remember, but I think it was Mikey. They're in the mediums. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But yeah, really nice qualifying today. A couple disconnects, most likely. Don't know what kind of incidents we might see the stewards looking at. But we're looking forward to the race here, as we're going to be loading into the race. Hopefully we won't have a connection issue. And it seems like JP3 is having some connection issues for Tier 3. I'm going to get back in here. Drivers are going to be finalizing their setups, fuel loads, and their race strategies. As we can see on the grid there on the left side. The rain towards the end. So, with how this track is, and how, from what I remember, I had race in the sprint. I didn't have race, or I had rain in the sprint. I didn't have rain in the main event. So hopefully the rain will come into play. That'll change up a lot of things. Once again, if the game audio or my audio is too loud, please let me know so I can adjust those audio levels. And then, as a disclaimer, we're using F1 World cars. If you guys are aware, the equal performance has been overridden due to the most recent downforce patch for team cars. So McLaren, Mercedes, those faster cars are going to have better advantage at downforce than those slower cars of like Williams or Alfa Romeo. So we're having to use the F1 World cars for base equal performance in place of that until they get it fixed. So it's going to be the second week, because Tier 4 did drive last week during the break because of connection issues. Admins are setting the grid. They shouldn't have to, because we just did qualifying. I know they had to last time because of the reconnect. Rain towards the end of the race will come in. Would be a really great play. See what kind of drivers can withstand the rain on their slick tires compared to coming in for those set of better tires with better grip and traction. So I don't know if it's going to be a connection issue or if we're just waiting for the admins. I'm going to go ahead and check the driver's room on my phone. Looks like everybody is readying up by what they're saying in the driver's room. And we are go. Alright. So throughout the race, I'm going to be ignoring the teams, trying to remember who's on what team. We're just going to be focusing on the drivers. And I really wish we weren't dealing with the downforce issue. That way I know who were teammates. But the man to look for today is Alpha Crazy, having to sit out of qualifying, see what kind of ground he can cover as our 5 red lights are off. I'm going to go ahead and give it a second before we change that stuff. Bruce Lee Harding off to a really good start into turn 1. I don't know if there's 3 wide. People coming off the track there. And stewards are probably going to be looking at that. Didn't see any contact. Lucas Blaha knocking back down to P12. Coming through. And there's a caution in Sector 1. And that is Phantom. I don't know if that was a disconnect from Phantom or not. but he is out. The virtual safety car from coming up the hill. Phantom out already. Not even a full sector. Our strategies today. Softs to mediums from lap 9 to 10, or mediums to hards on 10 to 14. We're going to go ahead and change that detail to tires. Jamie on the soft tires. Majority of the grid on mediums, and then the rest of the grid on hards. So Tancho Bandit P7 right now on the hard tires. As we're under a virtual safety car, waiting for that virtual safety car to end. Bruce Lee Harding and Ronan. Top 2. We're gonna have to look. We're gonna have to prod into the driver's room to see what happened. As we are back to racing here. Bruce Lee Harding, barely any advantage on that restart as Ronan is all over him. And then Jack respectively all over Ronan here as we're coming up to the bus stop chicane. All the front runners on those medium tires. Phantom has left the session now. Bruce Lee Harding setting a provisional time of 2:03. Ronan looking to make a move on the inside. No, he will not. Waters in the pit. Looks like he may have damage. We'll come back to him. I can't see the front of his car. They won't let me swap camera angles. Bruce Lee Harding coming up through the chicane. Nitro Gash has left the session. I don't know what's going on there. He is ghosted out. He may have a connection issue. I don't know. But right now, Bruce Lee Harding is still fighting for that lead, as Jack is still right up there in P3. So far, 2 people out of the race already. Nitro Gash, his car is ghosted on the track, and then Phantom, an early DNF from Phantom. As we're going to go ahead and look and see what kind of other fights we have here. Lucas Blaha pretty close to Sab, trying to make a move, but he has Alpha Crazy up in a P14 already, trying to make some ground. Nitro Gash has rejoined the lobby, so it was a connection issue from Nitro Gash. Hopefully he gets a safe return, as his car is currently ghosted. He's got to try to move out of the way, that way his car can come back in appropriately. Hopefully he won't be too penalized for that issue from our stewards. Hopefully they have an understanding of that. Ronan takes the lead from Bruce Lee Harding through the chicane and that last turn. And they're still fighting for the fastest lap there. 1:46.9 from Jack now is the fastest lap. As we're back through Sector 3, Bruce having a little bit of wheel spin out of the turn. He's not going to have that advantage when it comes to Jack trying to make up a position. You can see him slightly closing in as we're coming up the hill. As we're coming through Eau Rouge. I had to remember the name there. I was drawing a blank earlier. As Bruce Lee Harding still trying to close in on Ronan and get that position back. As Gattuso is pretty close to Jamie. It's Jamie's first race today with Tier 4, I believe. And they're sitting P9, unless they did change their names. I don't know. Jamie, if they can keep those soft tires in good condition, they can last a while up until where those medium tires will be coming in. So that would really help for them. Water is sitting 2 seconds back behind Sir Spud in P17. Alpha Crazy up to P13 already in just 3 laps time, so he might be able to get up into the top 10 or top 8 for points. Lucas Blaha looking to make a move on Sav. He's right over the gearbox of him, coming through Sector 3. We're in the Alfa Romeo livery, the special believe that's the special Monza. No, not Monza. Trying to remember. He makes a move on the outside before the bus stop chicane. Very aggressive move here. As there's a little bit of wheel spin from both him and Alpha Crazy. Alpha Crazy still trying to hold on to that position there. As that was some pretty close racing. Luckily, there's no contact between the two. I believe that front wing really looked like he came in contact with him. See what kind of exit Lucas can get out of the Eau Rouge chicane. You can hit that chicane uphill, flat out. But I always have to let off the gas just a tiny bit. That way I don't spin out in the top and slam into the wall. Ronan losing position against Bruce Lee Harding up in P1. Made a move there with that first part of Sector 2. Jack trying to make a move on Ronan. A bright blue car. Looks really nice. Really stands out against Ronan's car. We have some other fights going on. Sam Flan trying to catch up to Tancho Banda. In the Hars, he's going to have that advantage when it comes to DRS. If he can stay within that time. Jamie, 2.4 seconds back from P7. With Gattuso right on their tail. Gattuso moving to the inside. Making that move. Up into P8. Alpha Crazy now 0.7 behind Sab. Still trying to make up some ground. They have Lucas Blaha right on their tail. See what kind of move he can make into the bus stop chicane. Any risky moves? No, there is not. Sam Flan 0.57 behind Clips Kiri. As Andre, Sir Spud, and Waters losing out on the ground compared to the rest of the pack. Nitric Ash sitting back in P14, trying to regain his composure after that disconnect. And those guys in the back of the pack really need that rain if it comes in early or not. So we're on lap 5. Tancho Banda trying to close the gap on JPH now as they're coming through the beginning of Sector 2. Mikey making up 2 positions, I believe, if not 1. Alpha Crazy back to P12. Lucas Blaha P13. Jamie losing position out on Sab on those soft tires. And see who else is really close. Alpha Crazy, Mikey are still all pretty close together. Lucas Blaha battle between P11, P12, and P13. So that's going to be a battle for 11th at this point. As Alpha Crazy and Lucas are going back and forth for their positions right now. Alpha Crazy sitting a little bit farther back behind Mikey. Just have to be very careful not to come in contact on these turns. Be very careful when it comes to driver awareness. As Lucas Blaha side by side trying to make a move. He's going to have the inside coming up to the chicane. Can he hold it? Lucas Blaha sitting P12 and getting ahead before the chicane. Making a dive bomb to the inside. A little bit of contact from Lucas into Alpha, I believe. And they're going side by side there on the main straight. A very aggressive move. That may be looked at. I don't know. Very aggressive move on the inside. Lucas Blaha getting a penalty for track limits. Maybe a little bit too aggressive there coming through Sector 3. Very good performance, but the penalty does not help. As Clips Kiri trying to make a move on Sam Flan. Saw that they were 0.1 seconds behind P6. Nitric Ash making up a position here as there's caution in Sector 2. Here's a spin. It's going to be Alpha Crazy. Very unlucky. Very unfortunate. Alpha Crazy spun. I don't know if there was contact. Mikey did get a penalty. I'm going to go ahead and look really quick and see about that incident and see what happened. Multiple warnings, multiple warnings. It's all track limits, nothing too serious that we were able to see. Water's getting a penalty for track warnings and track limits as well. Tancho Banda 5/10 back, 6/10 back from JPH. It seems like he's losing ground, but Samflan is gaining ground on him. Now less than 5/10 back behind. As the back of the pack is still trying to stay together. See what kind of move Nitro Gash can make here in the chicane. A little bit of contact, and it's going to be an accordion effect. Somebody going into the pits. It's going to be Jamie into the pits off of those soft tires. I don't know if there was extra damage from that spin. I didn't get to see the spin. Lucas Blaha is going to be very unhappy with that penalty after all that work. Jamie onto a new set of mediums back in P16. Lucas trying to make a move on Sab. He's going to have DRS. He's moving to the outside line. Sab moving accordingly. Jack is still 4 to 3/10 back behind Ronan. Trying to make up some ground. Lucas Blaha now 1.9 seconds behind Gattuso. Sav is close behind. Next closest to that, we have Samflan and Tancho Banda fighting for a position behind JPH. Gattuso getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits. The back of the pack not really close to making any moves. Mikey maybe. Sab maybe. Right now, Klipskiri, onboard Klipskiri, 0.5 behind Samflan. And Tancho Banda now 3/10, 2/10, trying to move in, trying to make a move on the inside. No, he doesn't have the room to do so. Can he get a good launch onto the main straight here on JPH? A little bit of wheel spin if you could hear that. As they got to hit the braking point really well. He goes a little bit to the inside just in case to see where JPH was going to end up. We can stay in the tow behind JPH up the hill. You can get DRS as long as he stays behind him, gets DRS. He will have a good launch. But I believe JPH is out of DRS. So Tancho Banda up into P4. Ronan losing position against Jack there. That corner just ahead. As Tancho Banda on those hard compound tires up into P4. Next person with hard tires is back into P12 from Mikey. Everybody else on medium tires. And Waters has retired from the session. Hopefully he did retire from... No, he's going to be on the track in Sector 1. So hopefully he was off the track enough to not get penalized for that. You have to retire in the pits. And Andres gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. That's going to be very unfortunate. It does not help him. And the rain towards the end of the race looking more likely as we kind of drag the race out at this point. This is going to be a full safety car. I don't think we'll see anybody go into the pits. Jamie getting a track penalty, or a penalty for track limits. Have to be very careful about that, especially under a safety car. You can slow down. You have time to catch up to the pack. You don't have to push your car to the max trying to catch up, especially at a time like this where you have that pace to be under. You don't want to push too far ahead or you'll get that penalty that one of the drivers did. Tancho Banda and Ronan going into the pits for hard tires. Or no, not hard tires. They're going to the pits. It's not telling us what they're getting yet. But we have about 5 people coming into the pits. Ronan for a new set of mediums. Tancho Banda playing a wild card, going for the soft tires. Kind of expecting a 2-stop, is what I'm guessing from Tancho Banda. As Gattuso onto a new set of mediums. Sab onto a new set of hards. Mikey onto a new set of mediums. As top 8 or top 7 on 8-lap old mediums. Ronan on a medium set. Tancho right behind on a soft set. Gattuso P11 on mediums. Sab on hards. Mikey, who we're on board with on a new set of mediums. Alpha Crazy on a new set of hards. He's going to try to bring those all the way to the end. See if he can make up that ground again after that incident earlier in the race. And still a lot of race to go as we have everybody else catching up to the pack. And I don't know if Andres did serve that drive-through penalty. He should, I believe. No, he did not. He has a new set of mediums. So he's going to still have to serve that drive-through penalty if the rain comes. That's going to be very unfortunate because that's going to be another pit stop that he has to make. And that drive-through penalty, that time is just going to be added on to the end of the race. So, for Andre's point of view, he doesn't need the rain. He can make up some ground, do the drive-through penalty, and hopefully not have to come into the pits again, because that is a great loss of time. Because I believe the safety car will be coming in next lap on the end of lap 10, because of how Andres and Alpha Crazy are sitting farther back. They're not with the rest of the pack here. As Jack on an old set of 8s going to be looking for a fight between Ronan and Tancho Banda, as well as the 3 drivers of Mikey, Sab, and Gattuso there in the back half of the grid. Back half of the grid having the new sets of tires. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have one more lap of a safety car for the drivers to warm up their tires. Jack feeling really confident after the qualifying. Bruce Lee Harding. Once again, an amazing performance in qualifying. And as we're going through the safety car, I did want to remind you guys of our sponsors. Our partners, not sponsors. Of Gridfinder.com and Venturi Studios. If you're looking to join the league, make sure to join the Invictus Racing League's Discord and follow the application process in the appropriate channel. Information is in that application, and it's self-explanatory. It's very simple to have covered. Andre comes out of the pits on a new set of mediums. You can also find our league on Gridfinder.com, and if this league isn't quite what you're looking for, you can always go through Gridfinder.com, go through your filters, and find a league that fits your preference. If online racing isn't your thing and you're on PC, unfortunate for those who are on console who don't have the luxury of using mods, you can always go and check out Venturi Studios, your one-stop shop for everything from custom driver helmets, team packages, and more. Invictus Racing League and its partners, thank you for joining us today and throughout the season as we're on race number 6 here in Belgium. Last week was the driver's break, but Tier 4 had a connection issue on race 5 2 weeks ago, so they had to race on their week off. And the next week that we have off is November 6th, so we get a whole month of racing from Tier 4 to Tier 1 and real performance. As we're coming through Sector 2, that safety car is going to be coming in about halfway through Sector 3. And we're going to see if Jack backs up the pack up to the bus stop chicane. He's going to try to catch Bruce Lee Harding off as he's going to slow down and let that safety car through. You see JPH there warming up his tires, that way he can get a good launch compared to the other drivers. But the top 7 on old mediums, they're all going to be fighting each other. And then on top of that, the rest of the pack is on newer sets of tires, except although Sir Spud on an old set of hards, so he's going to try to run it out till the rain. As you can see, the overcast is getting more and more, so the wear and tear on these newer tires will be a lot better compared to these older tires now. As we're coming through the bus stop chicane, Jack now taking off through Sector 1, the start of Sector 1 here on the start-finish line. About a 1 second gap coming into Turn 1. As long as he can get a good launch out of Turn 1, he will have a decent gap between him and Bruce Lee Harding up the hill and through Sector 1. So, a couple of position changes there. Sam Flan fighting for position against Kiri and JPH for P3. Don't see any damage, any incidents coming through the uphill sector. Gattuso getting in position against Sir Spud. Andre's sitting back. He's just starting his lap 11 because he went into the pits. Sir Spud getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits. As Jamie is going to be making up a lot of ground. This aerial shot, a little bit of tire bumping. Jamie having to give out and blocking Mikey there. As we are on board with Sir Spud. Mikey still trying to make a position as Tancho Band and Nitro Gash. There was contact between the two. I saw that on the chart. Nitro Gash back in P15. Not going to be happy about that. Very unfortunate. Jamie and Sir Spud still trying to fight for position. Sir Spud on the 10-lap old. And as you can see on the screen, we're starting to get rain. See those raindrops falling, and they're slamming into the wall. That's Jamie. Oh. Sir Spud out. Slamming into the wall. Safety car, and there's more contact between Jamie and Sab. Jamie, 5-second penalty. A severe collision. It is Jamie's first race, I believe. It's the first time I've recognized the name. And Jamie coming through Sector 3, not giving that space as everybody coming onto the intermediates, everybody coming into the pits. This pack is going to change. Jack staying on those medium tires. See if we can get a response from Sir Spud. As I believe that was Jamie that made the contact, that didn't have the room for Sir Spud. As we're under a safety car, everybody on the intermediates. Jack is going to be coming in, I believe, because half of this race is going to be in the rain. Just hope they don't have to go to the full wets. Jack is saying that he was Kelvin North in the chat. You're gonna have to remind me who you are. From what you're saying, I believe you're Jack. I don't know. How much room did he want? I was on board with Sir Spud. And there was a little bit of tire contact, and then the tire just... Okay, you are Sir Spud. I just asked you for the input on the contact in Discord. So yeah, I was on board with you. You can scroll back and look. I really wish I wouldn't have swapped from that overhead view. That way I could see more. I wasn't sure if Jamie had some interference on the left side there through Sector 3. But we'll have to wait for the steward response later in the week. As we might see Jack coming into the pits. Will he be coming in? No, he will not. And with Andre catching up to the pack, we'll be resuming the race on lap 13. We're going to go through here and look at our penalties. The only penalties remaining are the track limit penalties for Caduso, Lucas Blaha, Mikey, and Jamie. The drive-through penalty was served, and I believe Jamie served another 5-second penalty. Let's go ahead and take a look at our incidents here. Terminal damage from Phantom towards the beginning of the race. Drive-through penalty for Andres. DNF for terminal damage from Waters. Terminal damage from Sir Spud. And severe collision with Sab after the incident with Sir Spud. Sir Spud was forced into the wall from Jamie, so I don't know why the game gave Jamie a penalty for the contact with Sab and not Sir Spud. But the stewards will be looking at that later this week, so Jamie will be expecting some penalties. As Jack's still sitting on those medium tires. The rain doesn't look like it's getting too much worse. It's a little too late for Jack now. The only person on slick tires. And he's most likely going to have to come into the pits and give up his lead. Leaving the fight for Bruce Lee and JPH. Clips Kiri now up into P4. Alpha Crazy up into P11. So he has made some ground. See what kind of ground he can make up on those intermediates. And if Jack comes into the pits, then Bruce will be controlling the start of the race. But that's going to be a split-second decision because that pit entry is right in the middle of the bus stop chicane. And there's the start from Jack. He's going to be staying out on the track here. About 1 second gap from Bruce Lee Harding. Bruce has better traction. Especially coming into turn 1. See what kind of control Jack can have. Taking that inside line, covering it off. And a pretty good launch. A lot of wheel spin here. As he loses a little bit of ground. But he's able to get that traction back coming up to the hill. Very good shot there. As he has a pretty decent gap. It looks like a big gap from here, but it's only 0.6 of a second. Ronan getting a position on Samflan. Dumping a little bit of ERS is my guess. Clips Carry going very wide out of that corner. A little bit too much power. Tancho Bannon losing a position against Nitro Gash. Back of the pack. And Jamie as well. Jamie still fighting for that position. Tancho still fighting. P13. As closest gap now, really. JPH on Bruce Lee Harding. Coming the downhill section of Sector 2. A lot of wheel spin coming from Jack. He's going to lose out on 2-3 positions now. You saw that back end come out on him. And he may be forced to be coming into the pits tonight. Or, tonight. Right now. It is the afternoon for me. It is tonight for you guys. So Jack back into P14. Gattuso taking a position against Samflan. And a lot of using the excess road. We're going to be seeing Jack coming into the pits now. Yes, we are. Gattuso gets a free position. Caution in Sector 3. A lot of slow pace there as there's a lot of cars all over the place. I don't know what happened here. So you have to be very careful in this turn 1. A lot of close action right here. I don't know if there's any contact. It's really hard to tell. The order has really changed. Alpha Crazy back up into P7 after not being able to participate in qualifying. And Lucas Blaha again with that track limit penalty after a very aggressive strategy on trying to take up positions. Jamie up into P11. As JPH is still trying to catch up to Bruce Lee Harding, our new leader. As Jack comes out P15. Sir Spud has left the session. Our race admin is out. And we're glad that the host migration has not been affected compared to what I saw in Tier 3, as there is a virtual safety car. And there's going to be contact. Ronan has spun out. I don't know if there was contact between him and Sam Flan. He's paying attention to the leaders. Ronan running pretty good. That's going to hurt his driver standings right now. And it's a full-fledged safety car. As he loses his front wing, I'm going to go ahead and go to Sam Flan. Doesn't look like he has any damage on his car. I don't know what position Ronan was in, but yeah, I'm not seeing any damage from those other cars. Maybe a little bit of damage from Tancho Banda, I don't know. Very hard to tell. No, looking at the wrong car. Full-fledged safety car. That's going to be in for about a lap. 3 safety cars so far, as Jamie has lost their front wing, so that contact may be from Jamie. Mikey coming in for a new set of intermediates. See if they change to the wet tires. Jamie having to slow down so they don't get a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. 4 people coming into the pits. Let's see if they change to the wet tires. No, it is a double set of intermediate tires. That's going to be changing up the grid a little bit. Jack is going to be able to make some positions free. Jamie going onto the wets. Their pit crew saying that the wets and the intermediates most likely have a similar time frame. Just hope Jamie has a smart idea about this. See if they have better traction on these wet tires. And Mikey has a 3-second time penalty for track limits. You are under a safety car. You don't have to push the car. We'll have to wait and see here. Those track limits coming from Sector 1, as he did come out of the pits, so I don't know if that was a bad exit or just trying to get up the hill through the chicane. But we'll have to wait and see. New sets of tires coming on from P11 to P15. Jack did pit a lap earlier, so it was very unfortunate that he was able to pit. And then another safety car coming out. He did make up a few positions, not too many. As Bruce Lee Harding and JVH are sitting up in P1 and P2. Bruce Lee Harding and JPH, both McLaren drivers, sitting at 1-2 right now. And then Clips Curie in Alpha Tauri. So Ronan really needs to make his way back up the pack in order to hold on to his lead. So we may see the safety car coming in this lap. And that is a no. Safety car will be out for another lap. Lap 17 we will resume. And that means a 5-lap sprint to the end. Yeah, so Ronan sitting at 52 points right now. Back of the pack, JPH and Jack sitting at 45 points. So Jack sitting back in P12 leaves room for JPH to get some points. Bruce Lee Harding is currently P6 at 34 points, tied with Blackside. I don't believe Blackside is here today, unless he did change his name. I don't believe so. So, Bruce Lee Harding looking to make some good points for McLaren. So is JPH. That would bump up Bruce Lee Harding up to at least to P5. Maybe P4. Lucas Blaha, depending on how he does. He's still sitting at P5. So, Lucas might be still sitting at P4 at the end of this. In the driver's standings. But as it stands, if Bruce Lee Harding and JPH can hold on to that lead, that 1-2 for the podium, McLaren will have an even more outstanding lead against Williams and Haas. This Phantom was a driver for Haas, Tancho Bandit, and Sam. I don't believe Sam is here today, other than Sam Flan driving for Mercedes. Sab and Sam Flan driving for Mercedes. Sam sitting in P7 might be able to get some points. I don't remember the standings for IRL. But as always, if you guys are looking to join the league, be sure to join the Invictus Racing League Discord and follow the application process in the appropriate channel. You can always find our league on gridfinder.com, and if this league isn't quite for you, you can always go through gridfinder.com, set your preferences and your filters to find a league that fits your preference. If online racing isn't your thing and you guys are on PC, you can always go to Venturi Studios and check them out. Your one-stop shop for anything from custom driver helmets, team packages, and more. I go on there and they have some pretty good mod packs for your driver career modes or my team career mode. And I have a helmet order currently that's in queue from one of the Venturi Studios members, but I'm doing it through them specifically through their own own commissioning. So it's gonna be an Aston Martin helmet for my season 2 of my driver career mode. I'm looking forward to it. I'm over halfway done with my series, and yeah, looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to changing the schedule around for the second season, as Bruce Lee Harding warming up his tires a little bit, trying to stay on that dry part of the track, as the rain has definitely picked up. Looking to see if we can get some more improvement from Alpha Crazy, Jack, and Ronan. Are going to be the highlights of today, as Bruce is going way early into the bus stop chicane. See what kind of ground Jamie can make up on those wet tires, as JPH is close behind his teammate as we are on a restart. Mikey taking a position from Sam, Jamie taking a position from Nitro Gash. A lot of position changes there on the main straight. I don't know if there was a oh wow, I saw a yellow flag in sector 1, and that turn 1 incident is not gonna be happy. I really wish I would have. Oh, I don't know if there was contact there. Mikey without a front wing here. Sandflan, see what kind of damage he has. I can't tell. Andres back up into P4. Could have swore he was in the back of the pack. Doesn't look like there's any serious damage on Sandflan. Natural Gas losing a position out on Ronan. Ronan and Jack still trying to make some ground, as we have a lot of ground to cover. This midfield pack is packed. Everyone trying to make a position, as it looks like the rain is starting to pick up, so Jamie might have the advantage here on these wet tires, as we have 5 laps to go. Now almost 4 laps to go. Alpha Crazy making a position on Tancho Bandit, who lost out on 2 positions. There's a car sideways. That's Lucas Blaha. Caution in sector 2. Will that be another safety car? Lucas Blaha coming back onto the track, and that is not a safety car. Bruce Lee Harding, JPH, and Clips Curie, the top 3 running right now. Double McLaren finish at this point. Lucas Blaha might have some damage on that front wing. I didn't get to see it. He still has that front wing. He still has both end plates. That red car, Nitro Gash, not having a front wing. Sab losing out of position. And gaining position as there's a wheel spin. Alpha Crazy spun. And Jack coming back into the pits. It's just a crazy back half of this race. Steven, we are running medium traction at minimum. So you have to have either no traction or medium traction. And the medium traction actually isn't that bad. I'm using that for my driver career mode, and that's okay. It's manageable compared to last week, or compared to last year's game. As the back end of the pack, the back half of the pack goes onto the full wets, we may see some pit stops from the front runners, as we're 3 laps to go. So all those intermediate runners, they may have some time on their belts to go into the pits and still fight for position and not be interfered with by those wet tire runners. As we have a lot of gaps here. Gattuso close. Jamie spinning. I don't know what happened there, if there was contact or not. Jamie is not going to be happy at the end of this race with the penalties and the steward findings. As closest gap now is going to be Clips Kiri on P2. Other than Lucas Blaha. Back in P10. Lucas trying to make a good ground. Jack back in P12. Alpha Crazy up in P6. Ronan making it up to P5. I just now realized that. Ronan still able to be in a position to get some decent points and defend his driver standing. As top 3 are now about 1 second each. Gattuso 0.4 behind Jamie with penalties. Samflan 3.1 seconds behind, so as of right now he won't be able to really make a difference on placements as Andre loses position on Ronan. Back up into P4. Can Ronan run and get up into P3? We have 3 laps to go. Ronan is 10 seconds back from the top 3. Bruce Lee Harding getting a 3-second time penalty, and that's not going to help his case. Multiple warnings for track limits. Sam Flam in the pits. Caution in Sector 3. You guys really need to be careful in this wet weather. And I guess I played the right card by having a teaser of my thumbnail with a full wet. So you guys can blame me for the rain. I'll take it. Jack getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits. A lot harder on this wet tire condition. Jamie on the wets in P7. Nitro Gash fighting for position against Tancho Banda and losing out on that. Jack still trying to make up some ground. He needs to make up some ground to get some decent points on the board for the current standings. As we still have a McLaren 1-2, but it's swapped. JPH P1, Bruce Lee Harding P2. Clips Kiri about a half-second back behind the P2 driver, Bruce Lee Harding. Alpha Crazy back up into P6 after sitting out of qualifying due to a previous penalty. Alpha Crazy trying to look for a move on Andre. Coming through Sector 3. Does he have the momentum? Can he use the ERS? But will he be able to hit that braking point before the bus stop chicane? And not slam into the back of them. And a very dangerous dive bomb to the inside. We saw earlier, I believe Lucas Blaha tried to make the same move earlier. Alpha Crazy getting up in the P5 as we see the wheel spin there. Andre giving up that position, not really having a choice. As Jamie on those wet tires is closing in on Andre. Andre may lose out on another position as we're coming up through Sector 1. The next fight for points, close enough, is Nitro Gash, who had a spin. Mikey, or Jack, having to move out of the way, try to avoid contact. Caution in Sector 1 and Sector 3. I believe that is Samflan. Or that is Sab retiring. DNF from Sab. I believe retired in the pits. Andre losing out on position and spinning out. I don't know if there was contact or not. We're going to go ahead and look at the other drivers. End plates are good. Sandplan. And that was a retirement from Sab on the track. This car is in Sector 1. And with about a lap and a half to go, we have JPH, Bruce Lee Harding, and Clips Curie. Now it's a fight for the finish for the podium as Ronan, 8 seconds back. So Clips Curie, Bruce Lee Harding are top 3. It just depends on what the order is going to be. Lucas Blaha, 6/10, less than 6/10 behind Gattuso. Jack still trying to find a good position for points. Needs to get up there in the points. But Alpha Crazy sitting a little comfortably in P5 for some decent points. Especially for his team in Red Bull. Andres, the other Red Bull. Alpha Crazy getting a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help. Just hope it won't affect him too much for the point standings. JPH 2/10 back behind his teammate. He has to try to look to defend against Clips Curie. Tancho Bana getting a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. Oh. A lot of these penalties coming in towards the end of the race. Let's see what kind of defense JPH can play for his teammate against Clips Curie. Clips Curie coming up and performing quite well in the rain. We saw a few performances from him here and there throughout the series so far. Glad to see you up towards the front. Sandplan getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits. As the fight right now is for the top 3. Can Clips Curie get up ahead of JPH? The points don't really matter for Bruce Lee Harding and JPH right now. I'm going to go ahead and double check the driver standings. As it stands, JPH will be happy to take P2 because he is sitting at P2 in the driver standings right now, trying to help his teammate Bruce Lee Harding get up from P6 because he is tied with the Alpine of Blackside. So coming through Sector 3, we shouldn't see a fight between the teammates. But JPH will have to try and defend against Clips Curie. Bruce Lee Harding going wide through Sector 3. Coming through the bus stop chicane to round out the end. Can Clips Curie make a move? He's trying to make a move on the inside. Or the outside, now the inside. And he's not going to be able to get a good enough launch. As JPH close behind. Finishing in P2, close behind his teammate. Bruce Lee Harding getting bumped down to P3 for penalties. Right there at the last second. I didn't get to see the penalty on the screen. Jamie, 3-second time penalty for track limits. That's going to be JPH, Clips Curie, and Bruce Lee Harding. Double podium for McLaren drivers, Bruce Lee Harding and JPH. Clips Curie, currently P7 with 15 points. Give me a good amount of points for you. As the rest of our drivers are finishing out, Tancho Banda finishing in P14. So we're on board with our first place finisher, JPH99. He wanted to leave that first spot for his teammate, Alpha Crazy, getting driver of the day. He's made a lot of ground. He deserves that. There is our double podium finisher for our McLaren drivers. And if we can have our top 3 finishers stay in the lobby, JPH, Clips Curie, and Bruce Lee Harding. JPH, if you're able to. Bruce Lee Harding with that 3-second time penalty. See what that penalty is for. Penalty for Bruce. I believe it was right at the end. Exceeding track limits. Right on the last lap. That's going to be unfortunate for him. JPH, Clips Curie, Bruce Lee Harding for the top 3. running a mediums to intermediates. So they had a one-stop. All three of them had a one-stop. Lucas Blaha also running a one-stop race. Sab, or Sir Spud, Waters, and Phantom. JPH, Clips Carey, and Bruce Lee Harding. We're going to see if we can get them to stay in the lobby. That was a great race. Go ahead and pull up Discord. I'm going to go ahead and swap us back over to our title screen. As our race is over, we're going to pull up the driver standings and constructor standings from last week, as that double McLaren finish is going to extend their lead. All right, if we can have JPH, Clips Carey, and Bruce stay in the lobby for post-race interviews. Hoping that they can hear me in-game. All right, we're just trying to make sure of some things. All right, I can hear JPH. So we are getting our interviewees set up together. Once again, a very impressive drive from the McLaren drivers of JPH and Bruce Lee Harding. Yeah, I can hear you. Wish there was an audio control so I can turn you down. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with Bruce. You had a late penalty there on the last lap. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying, but yeah, it didn't really matter. I didn't, to be honest, I didn't really have to feel any sort of pace in that. So, yeah, please be honest with obviously me and JPX in the team getting in and what, a double podium. Important. Jordan is obviously the number one driver to get the priority always anyway. So yeah, we were discussing maybe trying to get me ahead of him and we were trying to get the gap on the clips, but I think clips were just a bit too close to us for us to be able to do that really.
Yeah, I'm looking at my OBS right now and you're registering through my microphone and not the game audio, so I'm hoping that's not a big issue. You guys, outstanding performance. I'm trying to get the qualifying times. I don't remember where you guys qualified compared to how you guys finished. But I was saying that in the stream. I wasn't saying that in here. I'm trying to get the qualifying times to look at them compared to how you guys finished, but trying to see the improvement there. But you guys are extending your guys' lead by far. You guys are at 79 points, and then after the current standings will be updated, it'll be even more. How do you feel about that, Bruce? My fucking... And I'm tabbed out that time. So I'm trying to look at the qualifying times. And I did hear Bruce. You guys are registering through my microphone and not the game audio on my LBS. I don't know how that is. But you guys are extending your lead as McLaren drivers for the Constructors' Championship this early on. How do you feel about that?
Is that to Bruce or yourself?
It can be for both of you guys. We're gonna move on to Clips Curie after this question.
First.
Yeah, so I'm actually just trying to change my settings so that you guys can hear me in the game. I don't know why I couldn't, but I'll obfuscate it anyway. Yeah, it's good because we've had a couple of freaking races really recently. So I like it as a team, so it's nice to a solid result. So yeah, it's all good, and hopefully a few more days and just try and extend that lead on the other guys around us really.
As Bruce says, as a team, it's I think we've always gone to seasons where we've always teams is the ultimate goal for us. And I mean, for me coming back with the first place after retiring in the lowers, yeah, quite a nice bounce from that. And yeah, I mean, hopefully it means we continue this and continue to build to lead up and hopefully once again retain our constructors title.
All right, JBH will be coming back to you here shortly. Clips Curie, you had a very good race. You're sitting currently, let me get the standings up. You're sitting P6 in the driver standings, and that's gonna help your case. That's those points after the stewards look through. It's gonna be some pretty good points for you. I'm trying to get the rest of the information up. I apologize. So, Clips, how did your race go? How did you feel about the race? I don't know if he's in a party or not. Alright, seems like Clips is having some audio issues. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and message him. See if he can get his audio figured out. exciting race, but if they're going to be racing in the wet, they need to be practicing the wet. Yes, that is very true. Alright, so Clips is having issues with his audio. I'm gonna get some input from him. And then asking him how his race went today. P6 driver standing. How well do you feel with the result? And then I don't believe there were any major incidents with him involved. Provisional standings were not posted as of yet. I'm gonna get the information from Clips Carry and then we'll jump over to you, JPH.
Yeah.
Amazing first podium from Clips Kiri. Hopefully more to come. Felt my wet pace was a lot better than my dry pace, so overall I think I've done a great job, especially taking I'm ill too. So Clips under the weather, driving better in the rain. Alright, gonna have one last question from him, asking if there's gonna be a better chance of him scoring more points if there's more rain involved. Alright, JPHS, we get that other question from Clips. I'm gonna go ahead and start with you. You were trying to be a team player there at the end. Explain what happened.
Yeah. Me and Bruce always pride ourselves on working as a unit per se. And it's probably something that not many of the team actually really do in sim racing. It's kind of like work together. So there'll be times where we'll let each other pass, or we'll just stick behind them. I mean, yeah, for the last safety car, on the lead up to the safety car. I was probably a little bit quicker than Chris in the wet, but obviously with Clips quite close behind, I didn't want to open the door for it whilst we still had a 1-2 at the time. So yeah, and when Bruce goes for a 3-second penalty, we were toying with the idea of trying to get a gap to Clips, so basically letting Bruce get ahead and get 3 seconds on Clips. But the problem was that Clips was so close, and the pace was close enough that it would have, if Clips would have got past, it would have been hard to then be overtaken for position, and obviously we still had the win in our team's hands. So yeah, we tried to be as much of a win as possible, and to a degree that's kind of what's helped us win Constructors title over the last couple of seasons, and hopefully it will help going forward for this season as well.
Because I remember, I believe it was the first race that I came on with Tier 4. I believe it was race number 3 in Spain. You guys ran really well there on out. And then, real quick, back to Clips. He said that he prefers to drive in the wet compared to the last few games, and hopes that it will improve positions even more throughout the rest of the series. And then JPH, I forgot what I was gonna say. But you guys are extending that lead even more. And how did that late pit stop? I don't remember who it was. Someone who was P1. I don't know if it was Jack or somebody else. Can you still hear me? And voice lobby has been disconnected. All right. All right. And that's very unfortunate that we get our voice lobby or suspended voice chat. So all right, we're gonna hop over to Discord for the last little second with JPH. We're gonna get that last few questions from JPH here. As he joins the Discord, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute Discord. All right. I don't know where I cut out in that question.
I think you were trying to name the driver.
Yeah, one of the drivers who ran really well. They were late on the pit stop for the mediums. And they took a pit stop between safety cars. How did you guys feel? I'm sure you guys expressed your feelings towards each other when that happened. You guys got the 1-2.
I mean, that was Jack, who was really unlucky actually. Really unlucky when that safety car came out and we all dived in for inters. He literally just gone past the pit entry, literally probably like one to two car lengths past it. Which meant that he was unable to get in, and whereas obviously everyone else was that slight bit further back, which enabled everyone to get in the pit. So he was incredibly unlucky, really unlucky, and surprisingly we actually joined a party with Jack and Mikey of the Williams squad as well. We us four kind of chat together a little bit. And yeah, it was unlucky for Jack. It was one of those really unfortunate things. I mean, nothing was really said too much, other than we just had to keep going. And when the wet weather came in, we knew we were on the right tyre at the time. And then it was just a question of getting the choice right at the end when the full wets start to come into play. I kind of asked Lee, and we kind of both decided in the end that track position was worth more than wet tyres, and as it proved, the wet tyres were quick enough, really,
especially so late into the race, because I noticed that we were like 3.5-4 laps to go. Everybody's coming in for wets, and you guys are staying in the front. You guys are just increasing that gap, because even if the race was going to continue compared to what happened with the safety cars, you guys would have had a great gap where you guys could have potentially went in for wet tires and still fought for position, and not having the back of the grid interfere with your positions. That's from the gaps that I was seeing. But the rain was definitely, like, after that last safety car restart, the middle of the pack is just watching it. You can watch it on the replay. It's just crazy coming through sector 2 and then up the hill in sector 1. It was a lot of people need to, and I'm sure you can agree with this, like, I have trouble in the wets, and I'm sure a lot of people today had trouble in the wets.
Yeah, it's not an easy task. I mean, I almost dropped the car probably about 3 or 4 times, and especially when the rain really started coming down around lap 19, lap 20. It was considerably tricky, but you just kind of have to find that sort of limit and maybe not try and go to the limit in the conditions, and just let the car be as stable as possible. I mean, granted, everyone wants to go as fast as they can, but ultimately, if you're in a war, you're not really going to go far. So it's about finding that limit and then deciding, is it worth risking going for that limit or just bringing it back a touch. I mean, I think we probably dropped a bit of time, us three at the front, we probably dropped a bit of time to the likes of Ronan in fourth and stuff, just trying to make sure that we didn't lose the car on the circuit.
All right, that pretty much rounds it out for me for questions. And very strong performance from you guys in the McLaren team. Hopefully by next week we have the downforce issue resolved so everybody can return to their actual cars that they're using. Very unfortunate that we have to deal with that, but show must go on, especially for all the other tiers. I believe race tier 3 is still going. I gotta double check on that. But we'll see you guys next week in France for that sprint race weekend. So another another one-shot qualifying. I'll be looking forward to that, seeing what you guys can do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You know, really weird. I don't like the Castellet in real life, but I get on with it in the game. So it's be an interesting one, that's for certain. Depends what the weather throws up as well.
I personally don't like the track that much, but we'll have to wait and see. So thank you again for sitting back and helping me out for those driver interviews. I know we were having issues with Clips Curie, but that's pretty much got the information that I needed from him. If he was here, I can get some more information. But yeah, so thank you again for letting me be here as a commentator. I just wanted to thank you personally. And congratulations on the double podium for McLaren. And we'll see you around. All right. And as our last final notice, I just wanted to remind you guys, if you guys are looking to join the league, make sure to join the Invictus Racing League Discord and follow the application process in the appropriate channel. You guys can also find our league on gridfinder.com. If this league isn't quite what you're looking for, you can always go through the filters on gridfinder.com and find the league that fits your preference. If online racing isn't your thing and you're on PC, you can always go and check out Venturi Studios, your one-stop shop for anything from custom driver helmets, team packages, and more. The Invictus Racing League and its partners, thank you for joining us today and throughout the season. As we round out the end of race number 6, we're going to have a full month of racing, and then our next off week is the week of November 6th. So we have 6 weeks of racing before our next break, and then November is going to be rounding out towards the end of our season. We will see you guys next week for the French GP, and it's going to be a sprint race format weekend, or a sprint race format week for all of the tiers. So we're really looking forward to that. My name is Xerox, your commentator for Tier 4, and I will see you guys next week.